But then, obviously, in other news of the EU, we have EU chief, our favorite Disney villain, Queen Ursula von der Leyen, is comfortable after surviving a no confidence vote. We have a video here.
Yeah,
sorry. She survived a confidence vote, not a no confidence. Yeah, let's play that.
Yeah. So this video is from France 24 in English.
Now, the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen survived a vote of no confidence at the European Parliament. The motion, which unsurprisingly failed, was a political headache for the 66-year-old who was pushed to defend her record during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today's no-confidence motion was the first time a European Commission president had to face one since 2014. For more on this story, we can bring in our European Affairs editor, Armin Georgian. Armin, good to see you. Was this a resounding vote of confidence in Ursula von der Leyen?
It's a bit of a mixed bag, Delano. On the one hand, the party groups which said they would vote for her, they kept their word, they did do that. But a lot of people didn't turn up to vote at all. In fact, 167 MEPs didn't vote, including people from that broad centrist pro-von der Leyen bloc.
What does that mean?
That
what is that? They didn't vote. Like what should happen?
This is literally atypical of people who work at the European Commission. It's literally like you show up to vote. Most people don't even read what the heck they're voting. They're just told like, okay, vote for this because and this is the.
I'm surprised people are getting paid.
They have all the concessions. That's the thing. It's the best job ever. Hey, folks, you want to get a good job? You're struggling to find work?
Yeah.
Get a job at the European Commission or Parliament. I'm telling you right now, it's like you're going to be like a fat cat. You'll be very happy. A lot of concessions. All you have to do sometimes roll out of bed and show up to vote for something you don't even know what it's about. But that's why I'm laughing, because this has been an issue of contention for a while at the.
And these people are told what to vote. Did you say?
Ridiculous, yeah, in most cases. But I'm not surprised that people didn't even turn up to vote because they forget. This is how lackadaisical everything functions there. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, she survived.
Well, it means that they sort of gave a cold shoulder to her in a way if they didn't turn up, I guess. I mean, if emotion is important enough, then you turn up and vote. In any case, in the end, she did get the votes to get her over the line easily, and obviously she was feeling confident. She didn't even come to this session. She'd actually been in Strasbourg earlier in the week, Delano, but today she was in the Ukraine recovery.
I get, the other people didn't show, but like she's the talk of this and she's not showing.
This is what we are trying to expose.
Like
this is what we're trying. Exactly. This is what we want to expose to the people so they understand, right? This is what we're covering, just so you understand how ridiculous this whole setup is. It's ridiculous. And don't forget, right? We just mentioned earlier, and we've reported on it earlier, that she's being sued because of her handling of the funds in relation, in relation to this whole defense plan and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Should we move on from this? And
let's move on. I mean, she didn't even show up to her own. Actually, let's play like 30 seconds more to see.
Conference in Rome, so she wasn't even there. She was confident of winning, clearly.
So is she safe now, or will she be skating on thin ice?
Well, if we take, first of all, Pfizergate, so that was the reason why this vote of no confidence was actually brought to the House. Those allegations are not going away. I mean, they've been like a cloud hanging over her for the last 4 years, but there are actually much more pressing issues than Pfizergate right now for MEPs. There's the question of what happens to the Green Deal, for example. That's a big one. There is the alignment between the Conservatives and the far right on various issues in committee votes in the European Parliament. That's a big topic. There's the big budget negotiations coming up. What are the spending priorities going to be? That's also kind of a political hot potato. So you've got a lot of tensions within the European Parliament and, of course, between Leyen herself.
Topic.
There you go. I mean, it's no surprises there. She is very comfortable, and she definitely has push or sway, and of course,
Yeah.
she's got people. That
She doesn't really seem phased. Like a normal person would think, she's in deep shit, but she doesn't give a fuck.
No, she doesn't care. She is actually just to give just to highlight something is that I personally don't know this person. We personally don't know Ursula von der Leyen. I can't really speak on her personal character, and I don't think anyone can unless they know them. But the reality is this: her actions in relation to her job position or her post, right, which she wasn't elected for, by the way. None of us, no one had a say in it. She is unfortunately directing, Europe or the European Union, I should say, in a very sort of towards a very dangerous position, in my view.
Yeah,
and this is what we have discussed previously. We even have a special report on that in relation to the European military-industrial complex, which is developing, because she is one of the biggest proponents of that, and obviously the captain behind it.
I don't think anybody in Europe wants war, to be honest.
Talking of which, still sticking with the EU, we have obviously another interesting video where we have, just to give you a little introduction, at the EU Parliament, there was a bit of a clash of interests, obviously, because Claire Daly decided to give a somewhat of a lecture, let's say, regarding the Ukraine war and how the whole situation is nothing but a NATO proxy. Now, we're just reporting what she's saying. Now, for those who don't know who Claire Daly is, she's been an outspoken Irish politician known for her radical left-wing views and strong anti-war stance. So bear in mind, this is not a right-wing person. This is someone from the left wing, okay? And this is their position. She served as a Teachta Dála in the Irish Parliament from 2011 to 2019, representing Dublin North and Dublin Fingal. And she was elected as a member of the European Parliament for Dublin from July 2019 until July 2024. And she's affiliated with the Independents for Change and the left, that's what they're called, the left group in the European Parliament.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting...
I suppose first and foremost to everybody for being here, some old faces, some new, but a special thanks to Andre for organising and for Phidias for being here, because we meet at a very dangerous juncture in world history when very few people at European leadership level, either in member states or here in these European Union bodies, understand the scale of the repression which is undermined and ongoing at the moment, let alone are prepared to do anything about it. So we are extremely grateful to Andre for organising this event, and we're very lucky that he is here. And
let's give it up for Andre.
In this building, a couple of weeks ago, downstairs, the Irish Commissioner, the main man, Michael McGrath is his name, he's responsible for rule of law in the European Union, and he addressed the plenary session of the European Parliament. And he told MEPs on that day that democracy is the founding value of the European Union, together with respect for rule of law and fundamental rights. He told them that freedom of expression, freedom of assembly and association, and the right to participate in democratic life are enshrined in EU treaties, the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union, EU legislation, and common constitutional traditions of member states. And he then went on and told them that citizens should be able to form their own opinions in a public space where there is access to reliable information from a plurality of sources with different views which can be expressed, where political discussions can be confronted, and where it's possible to disagree with one another.
I know I'm playing it fast, but she is on a roll on the highlighting.
Yeah, the reason we play it fast is so we can cover most things. So
we can cover like a lot more.
Indeed, who in hell would disagree with that? But it's so brazenly out of touch with reality that I think many people would have found themselves scratching their head and going, where is this utopia that he's talking about? And none more so than myself and my colleague, former MEP Mick Wallace, who's also here today, who know the Commissioner well. And we knew him from our time in the Irish Parliament, and he never stood out then as a crusader for democracy. In fact, he was a member of successive governments which were entirely actually undemocratic in their nature. And his newfound interest in democracy actually was, kind of particularly uncharacteristic until you looked at the title of the debate that he was introducing, and it was called "The Hungarian Government's Drift to Russian-Style Repression, Legislative Threats to Freedom of Expression and Democratic Participation." In other words, in layman's terms, this is the ongoing standoff between the centrist parties which have ruled Europe for decades now, who call themselves liberal, and the so-called illiberal regimes, on the other hand, led by Hungary's President Viktor Orban. And then McGrath's words make sense, because the real reason why the EU leadership stands so staunchly in defending free speech in Hungary is that it's speech that they agree with. And it's an entirely different matter if you have speech which they don't agree with. And that is the context of the European Union's disinformation policy. It's the fundamental point that people have to understand. It has nothing to do with democracy. It's a tactic that they use for people they don't like. And first and foremost, and most importantly, it is to clamp down on dissent, on those who would have the audacity to challenge those people who are in power. And so we have this fable of the EU's official platform for its disinformation obsession, that our democracies are under attack from malign foreign actors who want to spread disinformation, to undermine our societies and our governments, to influence our elections, to put us all against each other and break down our unity. And to stand up to this terrible threat, we have to defend our democracy by cracking down on disinformation.
We got someone in the chat here from YouTube, Ryan Lopez. I'm not sure. She's saying it. What do you want us to show? I don't quite understand. You want us to show what exactly? That the enshrined value of the EU lock up people for hate speech or dissenting speech? Well, the point is the EU has a consensual agenda, right? And that agenda is usually followed by all EU states. And the thing is, if you disagree with it, you generally get heavily criticized or heavily sanctioned. So is there a disconnect between what they say and what they do? I'm not sure if you're following exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, to be honest, people should be free to say what they want.
Well, if you live in a democracy,
lock up people for hate speech. Yeah, people
democratic
should
values,
be free to have their own opinion. That's
for
sure.
This is what I get sick and tired of, because people are the term democracy. It's much like racism today. It has no value anymore because people just use it as a buzzword now. Democracy, it's a threat to our democracy. What do you mean by that? When you're locking up other people and you're also censoring people and their ability. So. Right. Okay. I think now, Ryan, you're following what we're saying. Yeah, exactly. I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
But and this is the problem, because you can't put yourself on a pedestal by claiming you to be the fount of democratic values and liberal values and all these things, and then at the same time, right? And then you accuse. I think Claire Daly was giving an example there, but you can't then accuse countries like Hungary, and say well, Viktor Orban, and regardless of what you think about Viktor Orban, okay, because we've also reported about shenanigans with the government there and stuff like this. No one is clean, okay. But the point is you shouldn't be pointing fingers when you should be looking at yourself. And the thing is,
practice what you preach, basically.
Exactly. The EU is very far from being the representative of right, especially right now.
Right, with perfect example.
Exactly. Given that they want to now bolster up their military-industrial complex on the basis of defense. Again, another word, right? It's code, right? Defense, which equates to offense. So, all good. And thanks for being here, Ryan. We appreciate you. And please, feel free to interact, because that's the part of this stream. This is what we're all about. We want engagement. Exactly. We are now going to be. Well, the problem is it's not that nothing means nothing. It's just that it's almost Orwellian if you think about it, because it's democracy is just a buzzword now, because it's like a PR buzzword. It's to use so it's this enshrined term to mean everything in terms of it's just like Babel nowadays, because a lot nowadays is not very democratic, unfortunately. But
they always say that everybody should have rights and all this, but let's be real.